wasting much time, let's start our discussion with 5 questions for the day. Starting with the very first question. Please read the question carefully, mark the answer. Regarding creating tribunals. Of course, there was no provision regarding creating tribunals. Correct? The provisions regarding tribunals were added, yes. They were added through the 42nd Amendment Act. Right? Awards of NGT. Do you remember? NGT is the only tribunal whose awards can be challenged only in the Supreme Court. Do you remember this point? All these things, of course. State administrative tribunals are established by the state legislature. No. Article 323A provides for the creation of administrative tribunals. And this can only be done by Parliament by law. Are we clear? So both CAT and SAT are made by Parliament. It is the tribunals on other matters under 323B which are done by the appropriate legislature. Could be Parliament, could be the state legislatures. Are we clear? So C is wrong. Hence is the right answer. I hope. City of Delhi. All the members of the assembly are, you please tell me which are correct. Which statements are correct, guys? Quickly. All the members of the assembly are directly elected by the people. Yes, of course. Then the assembly can make laws on all matters. All matters? 1, 2, 18. They can't make laws. Public order, police and land. So 2 is wrong. The CM and other council ministers are appointed by the president is correct. And the strength is fixed at how much? 10% is wrong. So a lot of you may have gotten the answer right, but despite not knowing which 2 are wrong, right? So only 2 statements are correct, 1 and 3, not the other ones. Abhishek, 30 and 3, that is for Pondicherry, sir. This is for NCT of Delhi. It's a 70-member assembly. What are you saying, sir? Quick. Okay, nothing to explain here. Every statement is correct. Simple. Taught yesterday only. 4th question. Did not see the word incorrect. Anyway, the answer would have been either C or D. Even if you saw that, you should have marked D as the answer. Laws made by Parliament can be modified in their application to Mizoram by the governor. Tripura and Mizoram, governor modifies the laws made by state and the central laws by the president. One is wrong. Laws made by the state legislature of Assam can be modified in their application to the state by the president. No, for Assam, it is the governor. Governors of these states have no power whatsoever to cancel, suspend laws. Remember, I told yesterday that if the DC tries to make a law which is likely to endanger the safety of India, which is prejudicial to the public order, which hampers the public order, then those laws can be cancelled. So the governor has the power to cancel. What is this? No power whatsoever. This is an extreme statement. That's not correct. All 3 are wrong. C is the answer. And last question. Correct. Google or no Google, I don't know. So of course, Assam, Arunachal, right? Mizoram and Nagaland. These are combined and their access to the high courts is the Guwahati High Court, right? 1, 2, 5, and 6. High courts like Manipur High Court, it has 5 judges. It is a separate high court. Meghalaya High Court also has 5 judges. No, Meghalaya has 4 judges. Tripura High Court has 5 judges. So these are separate high courts, right? Okay. Now, coming to our topic at hand. So I think we are done with the Schedule 6 areas. A small point was left, that issues pertaining to Schedule 6 areas was left. That's it. We'll discuss the issues quickly and we'll move on to emergency provisions. Okay, Hasanur, Mani 3. Very good. I owe you a chocolate whenever you. Schedule 6 areas. See, please understand that Schedule 6 areas are unlike Schedule 5 areas. Largely, they have been successful. Click a photograph on your camera. No problem, Ananya. Okay. So, these Schedule 6 areas have largely been successful vis-a-vis the amalgamation of these people in the mainstream. That has been there. So, this is unlike Schedule 5, where we have seen success. So, any question on Schedule 6 should end on a positive note, that yes, the Schedule 6 areas have helped in bringing down insurgency and has given a sense of self-rule to the tribal communities. That's actually correct. But of course, there are some issues. Issue number 1 is the codification of customary laws. Now see, there are various laws, various customary laws for various tribals. There are various tribal committees also. It is not possible to represent or to have all the tribal laws incorporated by the ADCs. Think of Tripura only. Tripura, for example, is a state which is highly heterogeneous. Multiple tribal groups exist. Now, if you have too many tribal groups, each having their own distinct custom, do you think it is possible to have those customs as laws? No, it is not possible to maintain so many laws for all these tribal groups. So that is there. Some tribal groups are always left out, and they feel that, see, since I am not from that particular or my community is not a large one, I have no say in the ADC, and the ADC is showing no respect for my tribal culture, and my customs are yet to be incorporated in the laws. That's a problem. Then corruption in ADCs. Don't ever think that any body in India can be free or devoid of corruption. That is always going to be there. Then irregular financial devolution. One very important element why we have these Schedule 6 areas, Schedule 5 areas, is to ensure that there is direct devolution of funds from center. But here also, irregularity. So we have seen there is irregularity with respect to release of funds. That's there. Of course, the funds are largely controlled and managed by the center and state governments, and they are released only when the ADCs accept the schemes, programs, etc., implemented by the center or states. That's how it is. So they'll send you funds, but before that, they'll ask you, approve the scheme, approve the project, give the approval, etc. Then land alienation. Now, some of you may say, sir, how is it possible? You have been singing this story that land can't be purchased in these areas by outsiders. Then how is land getting alienated? See, land is getting alienated from these people or being taken away. They are being deprived of their land ownership through two ways. One is the concept of lease. So government gives lease, land on lease to non-tribals. Lease of 500 years, lease of 200 years. If you are given a lease of 199 years, I mean, that is as good as selling the land. If you are giving a lease of 499 years, that's as good as selling the land. So long tenure of lease is almost same as selling the land to a non-tribal. And the second one is Benami. What is Benami? Any idea? Does anybody know what is Benami? Benami refers to the property which is purchased in somebody else's name. And you will be, this was a very interesting tool used by bureaucrats and politicians even today. Now it has declined a lot. To purchase land and property across the country in somebody else's name. So lot of occasions where the non-tribal outsiders, etc., will purchase land and they'll purchase it on behalf of the some local tribal person's name. And that tribal may not have the resources, etc., but the name on the document is his. That's it. He has no control, no ownership. Maybe he's working under that person only, but officially registration in that person's name, Benami. And the concern is that, as I said yesterday, the tribals of these areas, don't think of them as tribals in, say, Andaman Nicobar. They are educated people. They understand all this nonsense. And the result of this is what? The result is the conflict. Tribal, non-tribal conflict. This is a result which causes concern. Then the issue of representation. For example, if you look at, say, Assam. In Assam, Assam has around 12.4% tribal population. And amongst them, 30% or rather 35% are Bodos. So other tribal groups, and not just in Assam, in other states also, in other ADCs also, the smaller tribal groups are not able to get a single member in the ADC, or just one member, too small a group to hold any significance in self-rule. Eventually, democracy, what is democracy? Democracy is a will of the majority. If you do not have the number, you are outvoted. Nobody gives a damn about you. Simple. So smaller tribal groups always face the issue of representation in the autonomous district councils. Clear? And lastly, if you look at Meghalaya, I don't have the map today, but if you look at Meghalaya, the entire state of Meghalaya is practically covered in ADCs. Almost entire state is under ADCs, barring a small area of Shillong district. Everything is under ADCs. So what's the point of ADC and government then? We are actually practically running two parallel governments, and the Meghalaya government eventually controls a very small part, right? That's there. So these are some of the issues pertaining to Bodos is a tribal group in Assam. Okay. So you'll be studying about these tribal groups in your social issues classes, not right now. Or if you have anthropology as your optional, then in detail. This information is sufficient. There are community in primarily in Assam. It's like a Brahmin, a Kshatriya, a Shia, a Sunni. Similarly, a tribal group. Simple. Sometimes we are, I mean, it's not that it's your fault, but Northeastern people have always, I mean, if you talk to them also, now things are changing, but till a few years back, they also would refer to the mainland India as India and their hometown. And then when you look at what is happening with them on a regular basis, you'll understand the reasons for it. So the sheer lack of knowledge that they are also a part of this country, the lack of any information or any interest whatsoever on knowing about the culture of people living there, etc. The discrimination that they are facing and they have been facing across the country, right? These racial comments that they face sometimes makes you wonder as if we are actually on the path of becoming fully developed or not, in the sense that are we truly liberal in incorporating other people's way of life or not. We constantly see comments being made on the food habits of people, right, etc. So despite that, now things are changing. At least the government is funding a lot of money there to improve lives of people in general, plus bringing them in the mainstream, right? I think the same thing was felt by people from the south as well for a large part of our post-independence period. Look at the history textbooks. I have said this multiple times. The history textbooks are true reflection of who you demonize and who you eulogize, and you will see no stories, right, of the Ahom kingdoms or the Vijayanagar Empire or the Cholas, Pandyas. They are limited to one small chapter or a couple of pages or a small paragraph in the textbooks for schools. So, of course, it sometimes makes people wonder whether is it all about Delhi? Is the country all about the surrounding areas of Delhi and Bombay, or is the country way beyond that also? So diversity is very nice. If somebody comes to India, it's amazing as a country that in the same country you can witness the entire Europe, more than the culture of Europe. But it also has its challenges. The challenge is to ensure that there remains unity with diversity. There should not be any uniformity. The attempt to make things uniform is a cause of concern, which is what is happening, right? So that is there. Anyway, now look at how the UPSC also has treated these areas. In the last 15-20 years, not a single question was ever asked from Schedule 5 and 6 areas. And even the books don't tell us anything beyond what is mentioned in those articles and provisions, right? Finally, for the first time in 2022, a question was asked in yes, somewhat. If a particular area is brought under the fifth schedule of the Indian Constitution, which one of the following statements best reflects the consequence of it? The state having such area would be declared a special. What nonsense is this? What is this? Would convert them into UTs. Some of you mark this also as the answer. Why? This would create a local self-governing body? No. Panchayats already exist. In fact, scheduled areas did not have panchayats. We had to extend panchayat in these areas. This would prevent the transfer of land of tribal people to non-tribal. Land alienation, preserving the culture and custom, two prime reasons for scheduled areas. Okay. This time also in 2023, one more question is asked, slightly more difficult. To whom the governor submits the report to the president. Clear? So, two of the statements are correct. B is the right answer. Are we clear, everybody? Done. Moving on to the next topic, which is the emergencies in the Indian Constitution. So, we have in the Indian Constitution three different types of emergencies. See, as far as the issues are concerned, scheduled areas and tribal issues are concerned, uh, when it comes to even the recent issue, I'm sure you all must have read a lot about the Metis versus Kuki issue. The Metis, who were originally four tribes, the Kuman, Luang, Moirang, and the Metis, later on absorbed into the Metis, right? Around Metis, Manipuris basically, they're called Manipuris. Metis are roughly 64 to 65% of the people of Manipur, but they live in and around a small area in the Imphal Valley, and uh, they control 10% land. Whereas the Kukis, the Chin tribes, Nagas and Kukis collectively comprise of 35% population, but are spread across other parts of the state in around 90% land. And this issue arose because of an High Court order. So the High Court gave an order which said that if you are denying Metis the right to be included under scheduled tribe, so the Metis or the Manipuris are being deprived of this right to be included in the scheduled tribe, that actually is violating their right to life and also is against equality. So the High Court instructed the state government to recommend to the center to include Metis also as the part of scheduled tribes within 4 months. And that is when the issue erupted, where the the idea was that the reservation benefits are being reaped by certain groups, others are now being made party to it. So those who were made party later on were happy that, see, it was excluding them, now it includes them. Those who were originally there were unhappy that it was meant for them, now others are also there. So it may be at the cost of their betterment and at the expense of their upliftment. This is the primary issue. Beyond that, everything else that is happening is an internal security issue. Right? More on this in your IS classes when we discuss with the IS faculty on these issues and concerns. But that is it as far as the issue is concerned. Okay. So as I was saying, types of emergencies, we have 3 different types of emergencies in the country. The first one is called proclamation of emergency. This is Article 352, also popularly called national emergency. Some other important articles are 353, 354, and very, very important 358, 359. Okay. Now, as far as president's rule is concerned, this is again referred to as the failure of the constitutional machinery in the states. Article is 356. 356. Other important articles here are 355 and 357. Okay. Lastly, we have the financial emergency, Article 360, and there is only one Article 360, which talks about the financial stability being under threat. Now tell me, innocent people, how many times have we had proclamation of emergency in the country, meaning national emergency? I will launch a poll. Please choose. A lot of you are of this misconception that it was done only once, which the current government has been reminding us a lot. The Indira Gandhi emergency, yes or no? But that is a misconception. National emergency has been imposed 3 times so far. One was in 1962 Indo-China War, then 1971 the Bangladesh Liberation War, and then in 1975 the Indira Gandhi emergency. 3 times. Officially 3 times so far. How many times has president's rule been imposed in the country? More than 100 times. Okay? More than 100 times. 115 times till 2016. Right? So it's a very common affair. President's rule, right? And financial emergency. Tell me how many times? Of course, it has never been imposed so far. And it is extremely unlikely that it will ever be imposed because India is now too big to fail. So that may not be seen by any one of us, thankfully and hopefully, right? Now, let's begin our discussion with the very first topic, and that would be the National Emergency, Article 352. One by one, we'll discuss every provision and we'll also discuss what happens during emergency. First up, who can impose it? Of course, the Mahamahim, the president, can impose it, but we know what is a real power of president. Nothing is a real power of president. It has to be imposed on the written communication and the satisfaction of the cabinet. This written communication was added via the 44th Amendment Act 1978 because Indira Gandhi imposed emergency unilaterally, telling the president to impose it, and the next morning when her ministers woke up from sleep, they heard the announcement on All India Radio, and the announcement which was being made on All India Radio was this, that president has proclaimed emergency. There is nothing to panic about. It is a response to the deep and widespread conspiracy because of the progressive measures I began to introduce. Can you sense something? Whenever any leader wants to justify his actions, they'll always claim that there is a conspiracy against him. I am taking progressive steps for the poor, for the weaker sections, and these anti-national forces are questioning me. I am not pointing fingers to anyone. I'm just telling you how things are. Everybody derives legitimacy from these statements only, right? So same goes for Indira Gandhi in 1975 when she imposed emergency. The government used to run slogans. Discipline makes nation great. Discipline. Then this one very famous slogan used to run was, she stood between order and chaos. And Indira Gandhi herself called the emergency as a bitter pill for the sick child, right? In fact, in this Saturday review for the New York magazine, she had said that emergency is not the abrogation of democracy. It is an effort to safeguard democracy. So Indira Gandhi imposed emergency and jailed 36,000 people to safeguard democracy. We don't understand that, right? What will you know? Great leaders are making us suffer for us only. Clear? So they are disturbing and harassing us for our benefit. They take away our rights for our benefit. Okay? So when Janata Party came to power, it said that this single person's verbal communication to president is not sufficient. You have to give in writing, and all the entire cabinet has to sign and give in writing. Okay. Now, interestingly, this word cabinet is actually mentioned here. The only place in the constitution where the word is used. But the meaning is the same. What's the meaning of cabinet? Meaning is same as Article 74. Clear? So now you have to give in writing to the president all the cabinet ministers, and then only will the president impose national emergency. But when will he impose it? What is the reason? Tell me. If the president feels that grave emergency exists, or there's a threat to the security of India, or there's a danger of war, external aggression, or armed rebellion. Earlier, internal disturbance was the criteria. But when Janata Party came to power, it said that what is this internal disturbance? Because this was used by Indira Gandhi in 1975 when Jay Prakash Narayan gave a call that we will give a nationwide dharna, protest, etc. Then what will happen? Indira Gandhi will have to resign, or we are going on a nationwide strike next month. Indira Gandhi said, oh, these people are causing disturbance in the country, and imposed emergency. Now, internal disturbance is a very loose kind of word. Tomorrow, if 10 people stand up and start shouting against the government, should the government treat that as internal disturbance? It can. That is how vague the word is. So now we have replaced it with a word called armed rebellion. Okay? When people take up arms and rebel against the country. Okay. Now, one more thing. It is not that national emergency can be imposed only in the entire country. It is possible that emergency can be imposed only in a small part. That's possible. Are we clear? So it is very much possible that emergency will be imposed, say, only in Kerala, or only in UP, only in Rajasthan, only in some districts. That's possible. So can be imposed in the entire country or a part. Okay. Are we clear? Everyone? So far, no doubts? Okay. Now, what's the role of the parliament? It should be approved by the parliament. So when emergency is imposed, it has to be approved by the parliament within 1 month. And this approval should be through a what kind of majority? A special majority. Are we clear? A special majority meaning 2/3, 2/3 present and voting, more than 50% total strength of the house. With this, the emergency can continue. And once it is approved, it remains in force only for 6 months. 6 months from the date of approval. From date of approval of emergency. Clear? So national emergency can be in force only for 6 months. But after 6 months, if the parliament again approves it, it can extend for 6 more months. After 6 more months, if the parliament again approves it, it can extend again for 6 more months. For every further extension, parliamentary approval. What approval? the same special majority approval is required. And this can continue for how long? Tell me. Can extend indefinitely. Are we clear? There is no upper limit to ending emergency. The only way to end it, there are two ways. Number one, the parliament does not extend it. It ends after 6 months on its own, or somebody should end it. Clear? There are two ways to end it. Either somebody ends it, or it ends on its own after 6 months. Did you understand it? Everyone? Now, if you don't approve, it ends after 6 months. But who can end it in between? The president can end it. So president can vary, modify it, or also revoke. Revoke means to cancel, to end, to remove it. So the government can remove it. Simple. The government can say, now the war is over. There is no threat. Done. Emergency removed. Are we clear? To impose, reasons are required. To remove, no reason is required. Are we clear on this? Emergency is an exception. That is why to create an exceptional power, we need some reason. But to remove the exceptional power, there is no reason required. There is one more way. The president can remove it, or. The Lok Sabha can remove it, not the Rajya Sabha, only Lok Sabha. This is a special power of Lok Sabha. So now when you visit your slides on Parliament, and there is a page called Special Powers of Lok Sabha, you can understand one point mentioned there, the second last point was this only, that the Lok Sabha can remove it. 1/10 members, that is quorum of Lok Sabha, they have to give a notice in writing to the speaker. And if the house is not in session, to the president. Once this notice is given, it is mandatory for the house to have a special sitting within 14 days. Within 14 days, a special sitting is conducted, and then the resolution for removal is voted upon. People come and vote on this. And after the voting is done, if it is approved by a simple majority only, the emergency is removed. Are we clear on this? Everybody. So please observe a very important point here. To impose emergency, a special majority in both the houses separately is required. No concept of joint sitting nonsense. But to remove majority, only a simple majority, and in the Lok Sabha only is required. Are we clear? And emergency can be removed also and can be modified also. Meaning the president can issue a, what is a proclamation? You proclaim something, meaning you order. Okay, this is an English word. The president can, via subsequent, a new order, can simply say emergency removed, or can vary it. Can now say emergency will not be in Kerala, it will be in Gujarat now. New order. Emergency in Maharashtra for next 10 days. New order. Emergency in Nagaland for next 20 days. New order. Emergency in Andhra Pradesh for next 10 days. This can be done. Are we clear, everybody? All okay? Any doubt? Ranjita, which second point? Giving notice to speaker. What to explain there, madam? You give notice to speaker. How to further explain this? Why it can be done, sir? Pavitra, I think Pavitra, I can simply segregate your questions here. After every topic I explain, your question is, why, sir? Why, sir? Why? How so many whys? Srimant, is implementing emergency so easy? I don't think it's easy. You need a special majority in both the houses. I don't think it's easy. How is it easy? Okay, it's not. Emergency, give some examples. One more innocent person has jumped in now. Pooja. Madam, I told you, emergency was imposed 3 times in the beginning of the class only. Emergency was imposed in 1962, Indo-China War. That is an example. How to create new example for emergency. You hope for, pray that India is in a war, and then you will see an emergency. But I can only tell you what has happened in the past. Now, let me explain for some of you here who are finding the language very difficult and complicated, right? It is very difficult English. I can understand it, right? The words here are so complicated. Let me explain this for you. Emergency needs to end. How to end it? The president can do it. Now, please don't ask me the question, sir, is it the real power of president? Because if you do, it is shameful on your part that after 20 classes, you still are wondering what is the real power of president. Okay? So please don't ask that. Don't embarrass yourself. So it's the power of Council of Ministers only. But otherwise also, the Lok Sabha has this power. They can, the 55 MPs of Lok Sabha, 1/10 members, can give a notice to the speaker that, sir, we want you to order for a special sitting. And a special sitting is conducted. Now, don't ask me who calls for a sitting. Sitting is conducted by the Speaker of the House, the presiding officer. Sessions are summoned by the President. I think you remember all this. Remember? Sittings, adjournment, etc., done by the presiding officer. Sessions are summoned by the President and all. Old information, lack of revision, which is very clear and eminent here amongst innocent people here. Anyway, so the Speaker will call for a sitting that, okay, today notice has come. 8th of October, we will have a special sitting. All the MPs come. And that notice is tabled in the House that, okay, vote on this. 55 MPs are saying, remove emergency. House, do we agree? Yes or no? House shouts, ayes. If it is approved, emergency is removed. Simple. The president is told, sir, issue order, remove emergency. It's like a bill is passed, which the president has to sign. Are we clear? Everyone now? Or should I also explain how voting takes place in the parliament? Will that also be a confusion? Okay, great. Is a term national emergency mentioned in the constitution? Hearing problems. I began my discussion by saying that the word proclamation of emergency used in the constitution, which is also commonly known as national emergency. This word is used. This is what is a common name for national emergency. Okay? I hope now you understand when an emergency can be imposed and when it cannot be imposed, or when it can be removed. Clear? Everybody? Please, if there is any doubt, ask me now. Okay, great then. Somehow we have managed to convince a lot of people that it's all correct. Now, just hold your horses. What can happen during emergency? I'll come to it shortly. Chavan, this second line. Sir, if I move a slide, somebody asks me, sir, this third line, this fourth line, it's dangerous for me to know what is happening. I am just too afraid to use even the most basic English words, because then I have to invest at least 5 minutes in explaining the meaning of those words, which also comes at the cost of a lot of aspirants here who need to know some very interesting words to use in the answers. So sometimes you should refrain from asking word meanings. We can Google for answers and cheat in the class. You can also Google for word meanings, right? Anyway, the effects of national emergency. Now, what happens when all of this is there? What happens? There are four things that possibly happen. There is some executive effect of the emergency. There is the legislative effect, financial effect, and the effect on fundamental rights. Mind you, there is also an impact on fundamental rights. We'll see it shortly. Now, what is the executive effect? It's very simple. During national emergency, the country might be at war, or there is some external aggression. Maybe Pakistan is trying to prepare for war, or there is a rebellion in the country. It's a serious situation. So the center can issue any order to the states on any topic, including stateless topics. States are under complete control of center. State governments are not removed and all. Please understand, government's function. It is just that now the state government has to follow center's order on everything. Why? Because there is also a legislative effect. And what is that? That effect is that during national emergency, the parliament can make laws on stateless subjects. This is the second time we are witnessing this thing. The first thing we saw was Article 249. Remember? That was when the Raj Sabha allowed the parliament. This time, no such permission is required. The only condition is that there should be a national emergency in force. When a national emergency is in force, the parliament becomes empowered to make laws on matters of state list, any and every topic, for any or every state, without any permission. Of course, the condition is there should be national emergency. But let me clarify. It does not mean that the state loses its power to make laws. States also have the power to make laws. So think of it like this, that the state list acts like which list? Concurrent list. Meaning that now on the state list topic, both the center and states can make laws. But center has overriding power. And one more thing. If during emergency, the center has made law on any stateless subject for any state, let's say during emergency, center makes law on, say, a state like Telangana for police. Okay, a law is made. That law is not a permanent law. Once the emergency is over, on the date the president issues the order, president proclaims emergency is over. What happens? 6 months after that date, the law made by the center on the state list subjects is also over. Done. Automatically. We don't need to tell the people. It's automatic. Laws made become inoperative 6 months after emergency ceases to operate. So it is not some permanent lawmaking power. It is a temporary lawmaking power. Are we clear on this? Prem Kumar, example, J&K reorganization? What is this, sir? How have you thought of this? Come out of J&K, sir. It's okay. Please. There is no relevance between J&K and national emergency. Now, yes, when emergency will extend, this power will also extend. Simple. As long as the emergency continues. Because the condition is when the emergency ends, after 6 months, the law also ends. Simple. Mayank Wadhwani, sir, when the house is not in session, the MPs have to give notice to president. the president will inform the speaker and the speaker will call for a sitting. Okay, simple. Now, what is the tenure of the Lok Sabha or the assembly? Please tell me. 5 years? Yes or no? Very good, 5 years. Thankfully, 5 years. But during a national emergency and only national emergency, the parliament by law can extend the life of Lok Sabha by 1 year at a time. Parliament by a simple majority can extend the tenure. Life means tenure here. By 1 year at a time. Any number of times. For example, in the year 76 rather, the 5-year tenure of Indira Gandhi government was about to come to an end, but national emergency was in force. Indira Gandhi, or rather the parliament, by law, extended by a simple majority, extended the tenure of Lok Sabha by 1 year. Again extended by 1 year. And the total tenure of that Lok Sabha was around 5 years and 11 months. Okay. So during national emergency, the tenure of the assembly or any state assembly or the legislature, the Lok Sabha, can be extended by 1 year at a time. Okay. Can the tenure of Rajya Sabha be extended? Tell me. Is that possible to extend the tenure of Rajya Sabha? Tell me, what's the tenure of Rajya Sabha firstly? All those who are writing 6 years, what are you writing, sir? What is a tenure of Rajya Sabha? There is no tenure of Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha is a continuing chamber which is not subject to dissolution. There is no limited time of Rajya Sabha. So, okay, please don't write 6 years. You are just writing the tenure of MP of Rajya Sabha. I asked the tenure of Rajya Sabha. Okay. Then financial effects. What is the financial effect? So see, I'm not sure whether you are aware of this, but in your economics classes you'll be told of this, that there's a body called Finance Commission. Finance Commission gives recommendations. Now center collects all these taxes and some taxes have to be sent to the states also. Income tax, corporate tax. So center collects some taxes. Let's assume that center and state, the ratio is 60-40. 60% of the taxes are being collected by center and 40% are being collected by states. Let's assume that. Now, if emergency is there, national emergency, a country is at war, center says states, we can't give you 40%, sorry. Right now, keep 10% only because we have to use money for solving these problems. So, center is empowered to alter the distribution of revenue. So it is possible that this can be 90-10 also. Can be done. It's possible. But this is not permanent. This ends at the end of that financial year in which the emergency ended. Meaning, let's take an example here. Let's say emergency was proclaimed. Today, 29/9/2023. Now, the government can issue an order and say, states, we are going to give you only 10% money. We are keeping 90%. Sorry. get lost. Okay. If emergency ends say on 24th of March 2024, then revenue alteration that has happened will also end on which date? The end of that financial year in which emergency ended. So which is this financial year? This is the financial year 23-24. So it will end here. Are we clear, everyone? Now, one small point. If emergency ends on 5th of April 2024, please tell me till what time can this alteration, modification of revenue continue? I want the exact date. 5th of April 2024 is a part of which financial year? 24-25. The end of this financial year is what? 31st of March 2025. Did we all understand? Who is writing 10th of 5th of October and all? Guys, financial year. How can you forget financial year? Roshan, writing in caps lock. Revenue alteration, how? Sir, this is mentioned here in the constitution. That is how. I have not made this provision. The makers of this constitution made this provision. Clear? Such alteration of revenue distribution cannot extend beyond the expiry of the financial year in which such proclamation ceases to operate. Okay? Okay. Done. Now comes the effect of emergency on fundamental rights. So I will request you guys to please focus, considering the questions I get in other basic things. I am not sure if it is possible, humanly possible, to explain this topic to some of you here. So please don't focus anywhere right now. Please focus on what I'm telling you. It is very important. I can't repeat a half an hour topic again and again. Okay, please hear. Just follow. I'll explain everything. Rather than writing and asking questions right now, hear what I'm saying first. Okay. When national emergency is imposed in the country, there are three reasons for it. Either war is there, or war will happen in future, or external aggression is there, or armed rebellion. Now, armed rebellion is an internal problem, but war and external aggression are external problems. We cannot control it. If tomorrow China wants to attack us, it will attack us. We can only look at our behavior. We can't control China. So there can be external reasons for emergency. And what can those reasons be? War or external aggression. Now, if emergency is imposed on these two grounds, that is war or external aggression, then Article 19 gets suspended automatically. Article 19 is a fundamental right which allows us 6 different types of rights. We'll discuss it later on. Freedom of speech and expression, freedom to assemble peacefully, freedom to form associations, the freedom to move anywhere, freedom to reside anywhere, freedom to run any business, any activity. These 6 rights are automatically gone. Khatam. In the words of Rahul Gandhi. Are we clear? Done. The entire area where emergency is there, for the entire duration of emergency, there is no Article 19. Are we clear? There is nothing called Article 19. even if somebody violates your right of Article 19, even after emergency, you cannot go to court. What will you go to court for? During the national emergency, which is imposed on these two grounds, Article 19 is not there only. Just assume that somebody has removed Article 19 from all the possible copies of the Indian Constitution. So there is nothing called Article 19. The right per se means in itself. The right in itself is suspended. It is automatic. You don't need to issue any separate order for it, any proclamation for it. Nothing is required. It is your personal problem. You have to know this point, that Article 19 is gone. Are we clear? You can't go to court and claim, court, I did not know only. Where is the order? Show me the order. The court will give you a tight slap and say, go and read Article 358. It is mentioned there. Are we clear? Everyone? No problem so far? Okay. Okay. Now comes the other part. This is Article 359. Please follow carefully now. Slightly different. When emergency is imposed on any condition, condition could be war, condition could be external aggression, condition could be armed rebellion. Any condition, emergency is imposed. Now the government can, not mandatory, can issue a presidential order. So an order will be issued, and in that order, you will be told that for certain fundamental rights, you cannot go to court right now. If your right has been taken away, you cannot go to court. I am not saying your right is gone. Right is there. See, when our rights get violated, what do? We go to court. Right? We go to court. But the government is telling you that, see, guys, you can't go to court right now. Have patience. You can go to court only when emergency will be over. Clear? So movement to court for any right is suspended. Any and every right is suspended. This means the right is still there. It is just that right now you cannot go to court. Only enforcement of right is suspended. Right is not suspended. Are we clear? Only enforcing the right is suspended. Okay? And this can be specific. The government can issue an order and can say, people of Bihar, you can't go to court for Article 25. People of Tripura, you can't go to court for Article 27. People of Tamil Nadu, you can't go to court for Article 16. This can be done, right? So it can be specific for an area and for time period also. So government can say, people of Jharkhand, you can't go to court for the next 10 days for violation of Article 15. People of West Bengal, you can't go to court for next 24 days on violation of Article 23. All this drama can be done. But it has to be done. It is not automatic. Article 358 is automatic. 359 requires a presidential order. That is why we say that 358 is a very wide kind of article. Why? Because you are removing the right only. Article 90. It's not there only during emergency. 359 is narrow because rights are alive. It is just that you are being told, don't go to court right now. The country is in emergency. You sit at home. Once the emergency is over, then go to court. Even for violation of rights during emergency, you can go to court. The only condition, not right now. We are not stopping you from anything. We're just telling you, don't approach the court, don't disturb the judges. Are we clear, everybody? War and external aggression. External aggression could be smaller in terms of its limitations. War is a full-fledged attack by a country where India is also involved. External aggression could be, in a small area where India is not interested in going for an all-out war. Now, let me just tell you something very interesting, and then I'll come to this phrase. Okay? This phrase. There was a case called ADM Jabalpur versus Shivkant Shukla case of 1976. Okay. Now, what is so special about this case? So, what is so special is that during the 1971 Indo-Pakistan war, what we had done was that there was a law called MISA. I won't write the full form, it is not needed right now. MISA is called the Maintenance of Internal Security Act. Okay. When this law MISA was passed, it was largely done to protect all those people who were or rather to jail people who were involved in some kind of activity which would disturb the peace and tranquility in the country, to maintain internal security. Now in 1975, this MISA was given additional protection and separate sections were added by the government. One section said that if the government detains you, detention, what I'm explaining is not really important for the examination. Detention cannot be challenged. In court, meaning Article 21 is not available. Now, what is Article 21? Article 21 is right to life and personal liberty. That is the most basic right. If you don't live only, if you're not alive only, then what will you do with all the rights? All other rights can only be enjoyed if you are alive. And that is what we believe. For those who believe in afterlife and all, I cannot help you out. But normally we believe that if you are alive only, then can we enjoy our rights. Government said that we can jail you. We can violate your liberty also. And you can't go to court. Because we have suspended your right to move to court. This matter was challenged in the Supreme Court. That how can the government violate somebody's liberty and life? That's the sole right that person has. In fact, using this MISA, government jailed 36,000 people. All of them were political prisoners, meaning they were just people who were criticizing the government. You could not criticize the government at all. At all. Direct jail. 36,000 leaders in jail. Anyway, in this particular judgment, there were 5 judges. Justice A.N. Ray, who was the then Chief Justice. Justice Y.V. Chandrachud, Justice M.H. Beg, who was the next Chief Justice. Justice Y.V. Chandrachud, who became the next Chief Justice. Justice P.N. Bhagwati, who became the next Chief Justice. And one more judge, Justice H.R. Khanna, who was the second senior most judge after A.N. Ray, who was supposed to become the next Chief Justice. These 4 judges together agreed and upheld the law. They said, yes, MISA is constitutional. The government has every right to suspend all the fundamental rights, including right to life. So during emergency, you can be killed also, and the government will not be responsible. Please tell me, what is your opinion? Should this be acceptable to you today? Tell me. During national emergency, the government can kill you, and it's okay, no problem, because there is a war, there is external aggression. Only one judge, Justice H.R. Khanna, said he had a dissent, and he said that no. So the judgment was 4:1. Justice H.R. Khanna said that Article 21 is not the only source of life. Rule of law protects life. Government's power cannot be arbitrary. How can you even accept this? And MISA was so draconian as a law that people used to call the law as maintenance of Indira and Sanjay Act, to maintain them in power. That is what MISA was popularly called. So this was the MISA of 1971, which was upheld by the Supreme Court on the 28th of April 1976 as constitutional. That is why when Janata Party came to power after 2 years, it said this judgment was wrong. And an exception was added saying that the government has a right to suspend all other fundamental rights except 20 and 21. Even during national emergency, you have a right to move to court to protect these 2 fundamental rights. What are these in detail later on? But these 2 fundamental rights. Are we clear, everybody? 4:1, Divyanshi, is the majority. That is 4 people saying yes, 1 saying no. Don't force me to explain all these things. I'll stop writing all this then. Please, at least carry forward some knowledge. It should seem that I'm teaching an intellectual group of people who have taken 20 days of polity classes. Now think of this. The submission of an independent, mind you, judiciary to an absolutist government, this draconian government, this is the last step in the destruction of a democratic society. And Supreme Court stooped so low that it succumbed to the government. And what was the price? Of course, A.N. Ray, he was made the Chief Justice of India because he gave a judgment in favor of Indira Gandhi in the Keshwan Bharti case. In 1977, month of January, when H.R. Khanna, when A.N. Ray was supposed to retire, H.R. Khanna was the senior most judge because he gave a negative judgment here. He said, no, I don't agree. Indira Gandhi punished him indirectly by making M.H. Beg as the Chief Justice of India, bypassing H.R. Khanna, who then resigned from the judiciary. So this is what we have seen in the country. And all these 4 judges never even apologized for their judgment. P.N. Bhagwati in 2011 issued an apology that I am very sorry that ADM Jabalpur was a very bad judgment for Supreme Court. What is your sorry worth now? After 30 years, who cares about your sorry? People suffered during emergency. Can you eradicate all the suffering? Can you bring it back? No, you can't. And this is a classic example of what we call committed judiciary. Now, some of you may feel, oh, committed, such a nice positive word. No. Committed judiciary is a negative word. Committed means what? Not committed to upholding rights of people. No. This committed judiciary means a judiciary which is committed to upholding the government's policies. Committed towards upholding government's policies. This is the committed judiciary, right? The exact opposite of committed is called assertive. Assertive judiciary is the one which upholds the rights of people. Which protects the constitution plus the rights of people. Opposite. Are we clear? Everyone, this is the history of the great honorable Supreme Court. And all these were chief justices at some point of time, mind you. So being the chief justice does not make you right always. Somebody who was not the chief justice, I think his name should be remembered rather than the great names of these judges. So the result of which was when the Janata Party came to power, it said that sorry, if we let this happen, then in future also. So via the 44th Amendment Act 1978, this change was made. Okay, that's it. Yes, Mary, absolutely correct. Kavana, how did Indira Gandhi win with so many votes in 1980? There were two reasons. Reason one was that Janata Party was not a party. Janata Party was a group of parties and group of parties with various leaders who all wanted to be supreme. Jan Sangh, Bharatiya Lok Dal, Socialist Party, Congress, and also Jagjeevan Ram's Congress for Democracy. All of them were bosses only, right? So the party had to collapse. Secondly, during their Janata Party rule, they actually harassed Indira Gandhi a lot. That is what was seen in the media. Indira Gandhi would be called to court again and again for the wrongs she had done in emergency. And it set an image in the minds of people. And Indira Gandhi never spoke back. She remained silent. So it was seen in the minds of people that look at these old men harassing this Abla Nari. And the wave of sympathy. Collective conscience of people, I think we know. That is why Ambedkar was very harsh on democracy. Ambedkar used to say that democracy is donkeys electing donkeys. So the collective conscience of people was such that they became emotional. Oh, so wrong. And they voted for Indira Gandhi. Why did Rajiv Gandhi win the election with such a majority? There was nothing to prove that he was a great leader. He was not even a politician because the Gandhi family had lost one life, assassination. So the son must become the new PM. Why do people vote for the family? All the regional parties are family-based parties, dynastic politics. We are so much in tune with the idea of kings and queens that we love to live in this supposed umbrella of kings and queens. We cannot see beyond that, right? That is why all these things need to be inculcated. This is called the constitutional morality. It needs to be inculcated. It is not there naturally, right? And we love idol worship in politics. That is what should be avoided. So that was all as far as the national emergency is concerned. We are done with national emergency. Now, president's rule. Okay. President's rule, very simple, very easy to understand. Before we come to that, I'll explain a small point. Rajan, sir, collegium system decides CGI and then how government did not choose HR Khanna. Sir, don't make such statements here. Come on, grow up. One of our aspirants says that collegium system decides CGI. How did Indira Gandhi appoint MH Beg? Does anyone have a response to it? Tell me. Collegium came afterwards, 1998. I am talking about 1976. Simple. Okay. Now, President's rule. Before that, a small point. See, Article 355 says that it's the duty of the Union to protect every state against external aggression and internal disturbance. That is why the armed forces, who controls armed forces? Tell me. Center. It's in the Union list. So it's a duty of the center to protect the states. Very important. Apart from this, it is also the duty of the center to ensure that the government of every state is carried on in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. The government of every state should follow the constitution. This is the duty of the center. Center needs to follow this. Are we all clear? Everybody, please remember Article 355, the duty of the Union. Important. Now, what is President's rule? Article 356. Firstly, who can impose it? Of course, the name is President's rule. So who can impose it? The President can impose it on his own or when he receives a negative report from governor. So governor has this right to give an adverse negative report that in my state, what is happening? A situation has arisen in which the government of the state cannot be carried on in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. In my state, constitution is not being followed. We cannot run the government as per the constitution. Please impose president's rule. So it can be imposed when this happens. Are we clear? So who can impose it? The president on his own or when the governor tells him that this is happening. This is how we impose president's rule. Clear? The breakdown of the constitutional machinery. We'll come to that. What does it mean? This is such a vague word, mind you. The state government is not functioning within the framework of the constitution. In my state, I'm the governor. In my state, the government is not functioning with the provision of the constitution. What's the meaning of this? It is such a vague thing. We'll come to it. We'll come to how it was misused and how Supreme Court has reduced the misuse. Now, a couple of different things here. Point number one of difference. What is that? Point number one is that national emergency must be approved by the parliament. Tell me, yes or no? Of course. But with what kind of majority? National emergency must be approved with what majority? Special majority. And in how many months? In how many months? 1 month. Within 1 month it has to be approved. What are you writing 6 months for? It must be approved within 1 month. Okay, but president's rule is different. President's rule has to be approved only by a simple majority and also within 2 months. 2 points of difference. Point number 1 is that you have to approve it by a simple majority and 2 months of time is there. This also can remain in operation for how many months? 6 months at a time. And 6 months at a time from date of approval? No. Issue of the president's rule. So when the president's rule was proclaimed, from that date, 6 more months, it can continue. Here also, same funda requires regular approval every 6 months. Just like national emergency, it will continue for how many months? 6 months. Again approval, 6 months. So, think of this straight line. Now, point number 1. Here, president's rule has been imposed. Okay, and it is approved. Done. Approved. Once it is approved, it continues for how many months? 6 months from the date of imposition. Clear? Again, you have to get it approved by the parliament, right? Again, with the same simple majority, again continues for 6 months. Now, if you want to again approve it, it can be done. But if you want to extend president's rule beyond 1 year, extension beyond 1 year, 2 conditions are there. Condition 1, there is a national emergency in the country. Or condition 2, Election Commission of India certifies, says that election is not possible in the state. So what happens is, there are 2 situations. Situation number 1 would be that the country is under national emergency. Situation 2 is that if the ECI only says that, sorry, we have to continue president's rule because right now in this state elections cannot be conducted. Only if this happens can you extend the president's rule beyond 1 year. So this is one extra step required. Then back to the same story. Approval, 6 months. Approval, 6 months. Again approval, right? So 1 year, 2 years, 6 months. Now what happens? Nothing. Done. You can't continue beyond this. Maximum, how many years? 3 years. Done. Unlike national emergency, the president's rule is limited to 3 years only. If you want to extend beyond 3 years, there is no alternative. You have to amend the constitution. Then you can do it. But otherwise, no, it's not possible. Are we clear on this? Everybody? Any doubt? See, I'll tell you what actually happens in this president's rule. I think you will understand it because we're discussing the same thing in Article 370. See, what happens is, and this is the correct step, president's rule, please follow. President's rule has been imposed in your state. Then, immediately what happens? The state government is suspended. Gone. Government is removed. Next. Within 2 months, Parliament has to approve it. Approval by Parliament. Once Parliament has approved it, then even the assembly is dissolved. State Legislative Assembly is dissolved. Now tell me, in that state, do we have a government? Yes or no? We don't have government. So, no state government. Not there. Do we have the legislature in the state assembly? Tell me. It is not there. State Legislative Assembly, that's also not there. Here, President may assume to himself the functions and powers of government. So, and this is exercised by the governor. So, central government becomes a state government via governor. And the parliament becomes the state assembly. That is why I hope now you understand that ECI needs to give a certificate because election has to be conducted. Why? Because when the president's rule was approved, the assembly was dissolved. There are no MLAs only. So this means we have to have elections in the particular area. And this is what happens during president's rule. Did we understand this? Suresh, this 1 year rule is only for the first year. That's it. Second year, not required. Did we understand now? Whenever president's rule is imposed, the state government is removed. The assembly is dissolved. Now, please tell me yes or no. During national emergency, the state government is suspended and the state assembly is dissolved. During national emergency, state assembly is dissolved and the state government is suspended. No. The state government functions, assembly functions, both are there. I mean, think of it. We saw that the state governments also make laws. How will they make laws? Assembly is there. It is just that the center has overriding powers. But president's rule, why is it called president's rule? It is called president's rule because the center rules. Now, I have mentioned here central government. For your easy understanding, it is actually the president, right? But we know what is a president? Central government only. So central government becomes a state government and the parliament becomes a state assembly. So during president's rule, it is a center which comes at the state level. So if today president's rule is imposed in say Tamil Nadu, who will pass the money bill of Tamil Nadu? Tell me. If the president's rule is imposed in Tamil Nadu, who will pass the money bill of Tamil Nadu? The parliament will pass the money bill of Tamil Nadu. Simple. Are we clear, everybody? Any doubt? Any concern? No concern? Okay. So this is the president's rule. Let's take a break now because 5 years. Sir, you did not hear me properly once again. I said that if you want to extend it more beyond 3 years, the only option that you have is to make a change in the constitution. Otherwise, normally it is not possible to extend the president's rule beyond 3 years. In the case of Punjab, you please refer to Article 356, Clause 4, the third proviso. Below that, you have the case of Punjab, which was done through 1990 67th Amendment Act, where for the case of Punjab, the 3 was made 5. Are we clear, everybody? So at any point of time, if you increase it beyond 3 years, it is not possible through a simple majority. You have to go inside the constitution, use Article 368 and then extend it beyond 3 years. Okay. Extension of president's rule requires the same simple majority, which is largely understood. Yes, till the time emergency has not been approved, emergency continues. Yashi, why not via president instead of via governor? The president is ruling via governor. Done. Somebody, I just saw the Jammu and Kashmir thing. See, for Jammu and Kashmir, point number 1 is that this is meant only for states. Jammu and Kashmir now is a UT. So please ignore that for now. I don't want to break your heart, but somebody had to say this. J&K is just a UT. This 3-year provision is meant for states only. Law making for states, extra burden for parliament, but sir, parliament only has approved it. So don't approve it if you don't want the burden. Okay, Raja, no problem. Yes, Shekhar, that's possible. No Pihu, for that state only. No Rohit, it is suspended. Okay, let's take a break now. President's rule, the last topic. We discussed what exactly is the effect of president's rule. No government, no legislature, nothing, right? Now, what's next? Now, as a part of the emergency provisions, you only have Articles 352 to 360. But there is also an article outside the emergency provisions, which is Article 365. Just to clarify, this is not a part of emergency provisions. Okay, it is not a part. This is article 365, very simple and easy to understand. Where any state has failed to comply or to give effect to any directions given in the exercise of the executive power of the union, where any state has not followed the center's order. If the center gives you any order on a topic which is a topic controlled by center, right, meaning union list or a concurrent list, and the center has failed to follow the order instruction, then it shall be lawful for the president to hold that what a situation has arisen in which the government of the state cannot be carried on in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. And if this happens, what's the result? The result is the imposition of president's rule. Look at this. The government of the state cannot be carried on in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. So president's rule, right? So this is the idea of president's rule in the country. And this is how it is imposed. So Article 365 is an example of how the same president's rule can be imposed if the center does not comply with or follow the direction issued by the state does not comply with or follow the direction issued by the center. Are we clear, everybody? Any doubt? Article 365 is used for one situation only, when the center issues an order and the state is not following it. Article 356 is the effect, right? Article 356 is the effect that the state, see, understand this point here. President's rule is imposed on certain reason. That reason is mentioned under Article 356. There can be only one reason. What is that? When the government of the state does not confine to the constitutional provision. Now, what can be a factor for this reason? The factor can be Article 365. And there can be other factors also. We'll come to those factors shortly. Okay. Now, there was a landmark judgment in the country called S.R. Bommai of the year 1994. In this S.R. Bommai case, of 1994, and I have also given Sarkaria Commission recommendations together. So in the S.R. Bommai judgment, the Supreme Court dealt extensively with the use and misuse of president's rule. So S.R. Bommai was the former chief minister of Karnataka, and his government, because of defection, president's rule was imposed on his in Karnataka, and he was removed. Now the problem came because of the issue that he had approached the Supreme Court and said that in my state, wrongful use of President's rule has happened. I have been wrongfully removed. My state government has wrongfully been dismissed, and a wrongful removal or dissolution of the assembly has taken place by the center. Similarly, the minister from Nagaland had also gone there. Similarly, there were other three instances of MP, Rajasthan, and Himachal. In these three states, the center had imposed President's rule because the center said that these states had been aiding the Kar Sevaks to travel and go and demolish the Babri Masjid. And these states were not following secularism. So the President's rule was imposed. All these states also went to the court. So now the Supreme Court saw all those matters together and said that S.R. Bommai, since you have come first, the case will be in your name, S.R. Bommai and others. You'll be the popular person in future. S.R. Bommai, father of the former CM of Karnataka, the ex-CM rather, Basavaraj Bommai. So Supreme Court gave some guidelines. Point number 1, whenever President's rule is going to be imposed, presidential proclamation or order is subject to a judicial review. Supreme Court says we can review it. Whether the President's rule is correct or not, we will check it. Simple, interfere here also. Then Supreme Court said that center, very good that you imposed President's rule in MP, Himachal and Rajasthan. Why? Because these state governments were working against secularism. Absolutely correct. If any state government tries to work against secularism, imposing President's rule is appropriate. And in this particular case, when the Supreme Court was asked, Justice A. Mehmadi was also there, who became the Chief Justice of India also. He was asked, sir, you are saying that state government is not following secularism. Sir, please define, my lord, define secularism. To which Justice Ahmadi said, secularism is an elastic word, which is not capable of a precise definition. It is best left undefined. Supreme Court, without even defining secularism, upheld that yes, President's rule imposition is correct if some state government is not following secularism. So, not secular is one reason. Can you understand now? Reasons. Anyway, don't worry, we will define what is secularism on Sunday, hopefully. Then, sir, after presidential order proclaimed or before, how can review be done before President's proclamation? What kind of question is this, Soyab? Makes some sense also. If I take a step, only then can you review it. Without issuing order for President's rule, what will the judiciary review? Order has to be issued, right? What is the meaning of President's proclamation? Tell me. What's the meaning? The meaning is that an order has been issued on a piece of paper. It has been written that in that state, President's rule has been proclaimed or issued. That can be checked. Now, tell me something. In the last elections, 2019 elections, the court, the central elections, Lok Sabha, BJP won the elections, of course. But just before the elections to the Lok Sabha, we had elections in states like MP, states like Rajasthan, states like Chhattisgarh, right? In all these states, Congress had won the Vidhan Sabha elections. But when it came to Lok Sabha, lot of MPs of BJP won the elections. Now, can the BJP government simply say that people have voted for us in Lok Sabha? State governments, you are being removed. Why? Because people are choosing us at center. Should this be done? Tell me. If in 2024 elections, BJP comes to power, should the BJP dismiss all the opposition ruled states saying that people have chosen us? How are you ruling? Of course not. people vote differently in the central elections and differently in state elections. But this was happening. In 1977, when Janata Party came to power, it dismissed 9 different Congress ruled states. And what was the reason? The reason is that the Janata Party said, people have voted for us at the center. This means, Congress, you have lost the confidence of people in the state also. Removed. Illogical. When Congress came to power in 1980, it removed 10 such governments where Janata Party and its coalition partners were governing. Same logic. Sarkaria Commission said, what nonsense is this? What are you doing? When any party comes to power, you do not get the right to dismiss all the opposition ruled states. If you are imposing president's rule and dismissing the assembly, you are eventually calling for an election. Election happens in the country, right? Or in the state. Elections mean what? Expenditure, not just of the party, of the country also, from CFI also. How does Election Commission conduct elections? Taxpayers' money is wasted in conducting elections. And just because you are randomly imposing president's rule, that is not justified. You'll be surprised to know that 1959, Nehru imposed president's rule in Kerala. On what ground? Nehru's Kerala government enjoyed the majority in the house. If you enjoy the majority, you can't be removed. Simple. But the central government said that no. Even though the Kerala government still enjoys the confidence of the assembly, it has lost the confidence of the people of Kerala. President's rule imposed. Now please tell me, how is it justified? Did you go and check the hearts of all the people of Kerala? What is there in their heart? You make all these impositions and go for elections. Money is wasted. Taxpayers' money. Frequent elections. Anyway, then, very good. Supreme Court said that, see, look at this now. If president's rule is imposed on political consideration, the court can even restore the assembly. What happens in president's rule? The assembly is dissolved. MLAs are told, get lost, gone, new elections. But if you challenge it and Supreme Court upholds it, Supreme Court cancels the president's rule saying, no, it was wrong, the MLAs can be called back also. That, oh, come, where are you going? Come here, come back. Look at the power Supreme Court has given to itself, that it can also restore the assembly. In the case of SR Bommai, Supreme Court said, SR Bommai is so sad that your president's imposition rule was wrong. But it was 5 years. Too much of delay had happened. So Supreme Court could not reinstate the assembly. That is why Supreme Court in the Shiv Sena case mentioned the exact same point. Supreme Court said, Uddhav Thackeray, had you not resigned, but had you been removed by the governor, I could have recalled you and made you CM, but you resigned. I can't do anything now. Are we clear on this? So this is there. Then state assembly can only be dissolved after the parliament approves central rule. Basically, the statement I mentioned here, it is Supreme Court statement in the SR Bommai case. Supreme Court has said that you cannot remove the state assembly without parliament's approval. Let the parliament firstly pass the proposal with a simple majority. Only then you remove the assembly. Clear? And lastly, Supreme Court or High Court can compel the center to show them on what basis are they imposing president's rule. You are saying that the government of the state cannot be carried on in accordance with the provisions of the constitution. Prove it. Show me the material. Where is the proof? You are saying that the government of the state is not following the constitution. I want the proof based on which you are telling the president to impose the rule. Show me. How can you prove that the state government is not following the constitution? Are we clear? So, overwhelming powers given by judiciary to itself for wrongful imposition of president's rule. Finally, the court has said that president's rule cannot be imposed except three things. Under Article 365, simple. See, if the state government is not following center's instruction, it's okay. We will agree you are free to impose president's rule. Number two, if the state government tries to work against secularism, you are free to impose president's rule. Or if there is a hung legislature and no party is able to form the government, the governor has given everybody a chance, but no party was able to form the government, then of course we have to go for elections again. Are we clear? The only three reasons to impose president's rule are reason 1, 2, and 3. No other reason. Are we clear? The CM is corrupt. Is this a valid reason to impose president's rule? Tell me. No, it is not. The state government is not performing its duties towards the people. Is it a valid reason to impose president's rule? No, it is not. Again, read these three lines. Don't create your own scenarios. Are we clear? Laws are not subjective. Okay? There's a meaning here. Just these three reasons, no other reason. Done with the president's rule. Third is the financial emergency, Article 360. Governor imposed without calling any party. That is also wrong. You have to give all the, not all, but parties. So then where Article 356 is gone? Sir, Article 356 is only a reason. These are the reasons. When this happens, we will say that the government of the state cannot be carried on in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. Only when this happens can we claim that. Are we clear now? Do we have a doubt on president's rule? Okay. Finally, financial emergency, Article 360. We know nothing about this because we have never seen this. So I can only tell you what is mentioned in the Constitution. Who can impose it? The president can impose it. When can it be imposed? When the financial stability or the credit of India is under threat, it can be imposed. What's the role of Parliament? The role of Parliament is to approve it within 2 months. Okay? Let me just clarify some things here. National emergency, president's rule, and financial emergency. What kind of majority? Special majority. What kind of majority? Simple majority. What kind of majority? Simple majority. How many months? 1 month. 2 months. 2 months. Regular approval required every 6 months. Here also every 6 months. Here nothing is mentioned. We don't know. Not required actually. Then maximum period for president's rule. indefinitely. For national emergency. For president's rule, what's the maximum period? 3 years. And here maximum again indefinitely. Now, who can stop the national emergency? Tell me. Who can end it? President or the parliament? Or rather, let's write to avoid any confusion in future. Lok Sabha. Yes or no? Who can end the president's rule? Only president. Parliament has no such power. Who can end the financial emergency? Only the president. There is no such option of Lok Sabha majority and all. So please remember this. It will serve you in future in case you are confused. Did we understand this entire table? It is just a collection of all the information we have seen so far. Nothing new has been presented here. Now, let's come back to financial emergency. Why would we impose a financial emergency? We will impose it because the stability or the credit of India is under threat. What's the meaning of financial stability? What's the meaning of financial stability? What's the meaning of credit of India? Not defined. They are not defined in the constitution. However, there can be some example. Example could be low forex reserves. Country has no money only. Right? No money. Or failure to repay the loan or the debt, meaning loan default. If the entire country becomes Vijay Mallya. These are possible examples. Are you clear? These are possible examples. We don't know. So if you ask me, sir, what is that exact money, the line under which we can impose? We don't know. Right. There was a very critical situation when in June 1991. We were just running short of money, but we did not impose it. Right. So balance of payment crisis, we don't know. Maybe not. Right. So that exact idea will come created on one center because there is no definition. So we can only assume that there is no money in the country at all. Maybe we can impose financial emergency. Are we clear? Yes, like in Pakistan. Now, what happened during financial emergency? Frankly, nothing that would worry you. There is no change in the country. It is just that center can now give any direction to state to observe canons of financial propriety. Canons of financial propriety. What is the meaning of canon? Canon means rules. Laws. And propriety means what? Good behavior. Okay. Not that canon. No. Not that. These are all the rules. So basically, the center can say don't waste money. Look at your own life. And in the beginning of the month, you are fully enjoying life. Drinking every day, eating outside every day. Canteen food, PG food is so bad. But when all the money is over, at the end of the month, last few days of the month when there is no money, suddenly the canteen food is nice. Suddenly back to Maggie every day. Maggie fried rice is the best. Right. End of the month. You want to purchase into Amazon, but you are putting them in the cart. Why? So when the money comes, I can pay it again. But right now, you are choosing to observe canons of financial propriety. So next time a parent told you, please tell them, or somebody tells you towards the end of the month, why are you like a miser? Come on, let's read it outside. You can simply tell them, no, I am observing canons of financial propriety. Clear? Canons of financial propriety. Now, reduction of salaries of any class of person can be done as per direction. During the financial emergency, country has no money. What are you claiming? Charge expenditure. We have no money only. Right. So during national emergency, sorry, at this point of time, we cannot offer you anything. If you claim us that, see, you had told us, President, that my salary pay to me, give my salary like month. We'll say, but please relax. We have no money right now. Okay. We have no money right now. So during the financial emergency, the country has no money. What are you giving my money? Give my salary. Salary of anybody can be reduced. Then all money bills, all financial bills will be reserved for the central consideration. If a state wants to pass the money bill, any financial bill, the central can show me the bill first. Show me. What are you again investing money on? And central requires full control over it in financial matters. Are we clear on this? Everyone. This is what happened during a financial emergency that brings us to the end of our discussion on emergency provisions. Done. Solve this question. Ask the year 2022. Very sweet and simple and amazing question. I will give you some time to mark your answer. Please take your time. I am launching the poll. 45 minutes. Mark your answer, please. Oh. Why have you guys marked very strange? Which of the following is the exclusive power of Lok Sabha? Only Lok Sabha. Motion of no confidence, that's it. Impeaching the president power of which house? Both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. And to ratify means to pass. How is the national emergency passed? By both houses. Yes or no? So this is wrong. Some of you must also have the correct one and then yes, the correct answer. What is committed is a crime, actually. This was a criminal offense. But what do you do? No jail sentence. Only sarcastic remarks on my side. What else can we do? Okay, so that's it. Now, one question was asked this year in the main examination. account for the legal and political factors responsible for the reduced frequency of using Article 356 by the Union government since mid-1990s. What are the legal factors? Tell me. The biggest legal factor is the SR Bombay Judgment of 1994 mentions the judgment. Now the courts have introduced the judicial scrutiny. Right? We also had the Sarkaria Commission recommendations. Then added emphasis on upholding federalism. Right? These are the legal factors. What are the political factors? See, one political factor is coalition politics. Now, central government, not right now, but in the recent times, before at least 2014, the center also dependent on these parties to form the government at the center. So you can't get both presidents rule, right? There is this era of coalition independence on the state parties. Then the rise of regional parties. Rise of regional parties, which have become very strong, right? Whether it is the TMC or the DMK or the BJD, etc. Right. Also, the problem has been the opinion of the people. So public opinion. Media. Then possible backlash. For central government in election, sometimes when you impose president's rule, it is not seen as something very nice by people. People feel, oh, you are afraid of fighting elections, and that is why you are imposing president's rule, right? Yes, social media includes social media also. Right. What is then a sense of political maturity also. That has also happened. You want to maintain harmony in the country. No. Harmony is required. Right. Long-term stability is required. Because eventually you realize that see, long-term success of the country is all about stability and governance. So, stability in governance, and also we want to uphold democratic norms in general. So these are the reasons why political factors which have ensured. Yes, may explain them. Pooja, how rise of very strong regional parties. Now regional parties are so strong in certain areas that the central government may not simply randomly impose presidential rule. Right? Because the parties command huge majority. Imagine the center imposing pressure in Kerala or Tamil Nadu. The people themselves will not appreciate it. Right. So regional parties are commanding too many seats. A judicial review is mentioned here. Here. Are you here? See. Upholding federalism refers to the idea that we have ensured that the states also are participants in governance, and India is moving towards ensuring federalism. That is why the Supreme Court is very proactive in taking steps with respect to ensuring that the state paths are not curtailed. Coalition. I have to explain every point again in short. Okay. Coalition politics. This means what? What is coalition politics? Central parties now have depend on state parties also for formation of government at center, for passing bills in Rajya Sabha. If I have to depend on other parties, how can I handle those parties? Right. I depend on them. So if let's say I depend on BJD for some support in BJD, the party in Odisha. If I have to depend on BJD for some passage of bill in Rajya Sabha, I will never misuse my power of representation in Odisha because I need them. Coalition politics. Are you here? Easy, simple question. Right. Will you write this answer and send to IS, target IS and all before the examination? In this birth of yours only. Don't wait for reincarnation. Write in the next 5 years only and get it evaluated. Okay. Now the last topic under the public administration side of our syllabus is federalism. Okay. So what is federalism? Firstly, federalism is a system of government that separates the bar between the center and the states, the union government and the provincial government, the national government and the local government, whatever name you may call it, we don't care whether you call it a provincial government or a state government or a central or regional government. This division of power is what is called federalism. Right. Now, let me just write this point here. Do we have discussed it? Indian federalism. What is this Indian federalism all about? Uh, Indian federalism has been referred to by lots of people differently. People like Casey says that the Indian federalism is quasi-federal in nature. Quasi-federal in nature, semi-federal, like quasi-judicial. Then Ivor Jennings. Sir Ivor Jennings. You can add sir on your own. Ivor Jennings has said that the Indian federalism has a strong centralized tendency. Which is strong. Centralizing tendency. Now, apart from this, we've also seen a very interesting use of this term. See, when you are saying India is quasi-federal, when India has a strong centralizing tendency. We are trying to compare the Indian system, Indian division of power, with that of the Western idea. Why? We can simply say that Indian federalism is a unique one of its own kind. Why do we have to draw some comparison? So we say that Indian federalism is sui generis, of its own kind, unique in itself, beyond any kind of comparative analysis with any other country. Right. Now let's look at some federal features. If you are constantly calling India federal, then there must be some federal features which support the argument of India being a federal country. So what are these arguments? India follows dual polity. What is polity? Tell me. The very first class, let's discuss what is polity. What is polity? Polity means form of government. So we have a dual form of government. Yes or no? Don't we have two governments? We have central government. We have state government. It is just division time now. Division of power is there. Which schedule? Article 246 lists the three lists. Then we have a written constitution. Written constitution makes things fixed. If things are fixed, then the center cannot manipulate things on its own. Things are fixed, it's codified. We're all following the rule book. And very important, the supremacy is of the constitution. Who is supreme? Center or state? Nobody. Constitution is supreme. Both center and states are bound by the same constitution. Nobody is supreme. Then independent judiciary. Judiciary is independent, a very important feature of a federal nation or federalism is independent judiciary, because it is a task of the judiciary to settle federal disputes. Yes or no? What are federal disputes? Center state disputes. And we have bicameral legislature. What is bicameral? What is bicameral? Two houses. Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. But how is this federal? Rajya Sabha is the representation of states in the parliament, and then the rigidity of the federal provisions. What is the meaning of the last point? So let me explain this through a diagram. Diagram quality. What diagram? These are the articles of the Indian Constitution. Now, if you observe, most of the articles or provisions in the Indian Constitution, most of them can be modified by a very simple majority. Yes or no? Simple majority. By law. So many places in the Indian Constitution, you will find this phrase by law mentioned. Right? But there are some provisions which require Article 368. a special majority, and very few of them, these provisions some of them also require ratification by states, the so-called federal structure. Remember this, half of the states have to also approve. This is what we are referring to as the rigidity in the federal provisions, that those provisions where the state powers are being tampered with, the state approval is also required. Are we clear? Everybody? Any doubt so far on the federal features? Great. Now, since we are constantly talking about centralizing tendency, of course we have to also show it, and our constitution talks about the centralizing tendency. Through this, the unitary features are nothing but the centralizing tendency. In fact, it is these unitary features which are also referred to as the confrontational features. Why? Because these are the features that cause confrontation between the center and states. Now, what are these features? Point number one. Look at the division of power. Strong center. We have a strong center. Division of power is not equal. Look at the subjects only. Union list has 98 subjects. State list has 59 subjects. Where is the equality? Residuary powers. What is this? Remember Article 48. Topics which don't belong to any list. They belong to center. Center controls the residuary power. What more do you want? Fiscal power. All the important taxation power, right, is with the center. Center controls income tax. Center controls corporate tax. What does states control? States control agricultural income tax. Do you think any government will ever tax agricultural income? Do you want to lose the elections? Like forever. So of course you can never tax agriculture. States have excise. Drink more liquor, your state becomes richer. That again is not possible always. Anyway. Then central control over state. I mean, tell me, is there any provision? Is there any provision where the state can make laws on union subject? Tell me. There is no such case. It's not possible. But have we not seen multiple places where the center can make laws on state systems? That are they have. But vice versa is not true. A very simple point would be, Article 249, Article 250 during national emergency. Then appointment of governor. Who appoints the governor? By the president, by the center. Yes or no? Completely control. I mean, completely control. And fiscal powers also. The Finance Commission is a body which makes recommendations to the center vis-a-vis the what? Division of taxes. Center may or may not follow it, and center appoints members of Finance Commission. Yes or no? It's a central appointed body. Then we have a single constitution, just one constitution. And who can amend it? Tell me, who amends this constitution? Only center can do it. Only center can initiate amendments. State cannot. Then the constitution is more flexible than rigid. Most parts of the constitution can be modified by a simple majority. Most provisions require just by law. Right? By law. Then we have a single citizenship. Everybody is a citizen of India only, not of the state. Unlike say in USA, where you are a citizen of state also, center also. Yeah, sorry. You love your state, very good, very nice, very cool. But you are a citizen of this country only. Whether you like or not, that is a reality. Then all the machinery that you see to conduct the elections for audits, who controls that? Who controls ECI? Center or state? Center. Who controls CAG? CAG, the Comptroller and Auditor General, who audits the accounts of states also. Center only. And Parliament does not represent the states equally. Look at all the states. Their members are different. In a federal country, you will find that the representation of all the states is equal in the upper house. Look at USA. If you go to USA, you will find that a state like there are two houses, HOR and the Senate. If you look at USA, say in a state like California, how many members are there in the upper house? 53. California is a very highly populated state. It is like the UP of US, only in population. Okay. Alaska, only one person there. Nevada, I'm just using examples. Texas is again a very populated state. 36 people here. Nevada, 4 people here. But in the upper house, every state sends 2 people. This is an example of a federal country. The representation of states has to be equal. In India, it is not. UP has 31 people. Goa has 1 person. Where is the equality in Parliament? Then we have a unified judiciary, integrated judiciary. What is the meaning of this? The subordinate courts, their decisions are challenged in the high courts and the Supreme Court, or the Supreme Court rather. Now, who controls the Supreme Court? Whether it is or high courts, removal of judges, whether it is the judges. All this is controlled by center. So even though the center state disputes are resolved by the Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court is ultimately kept in check by the center, not the states. Then, of course, the amazing emergency provisions. Article 352 to 360. And not just that, we also have a very important Article 365. Then destructible states. What is destructible states? Tell me anyone? Any idea? Which article talks about destructible states? Please, quickly. Article 3. I mean, what kind of federalism are we talking about? When the states survival, your name, your boundary, it all depends on center. Right? Today, if we have to smart central transfer, state bifurcated. State, 4 parts. Now keep on crying. My originality, my origin, my son of soil, right? And then the Rajya Sabha is the representation of states in parliament. Rajya Sabha is a bigger house. Whether it is for the money bills, whether it is with respect to the accountability of the central government, whether it is for the numerical strength. And one more thing, all India services. So we have 3 all India services: the IAS, IPS, and Indian Forest Service. Now see, all these 3 services, they are, what is an all India service? How do we define it? All India service is a service where the recruitment and training is done by center, and these people are jointly serving the needs of different states. But the underlying logic of all India service was that the center is hiring these people, placing them all across the country in the most sensitive spots like the DM, DC, etc. Right? DGP, secretary in the state. These officers will owe the ultimate loyalty and allegiance to the center, not the states. So all India services are seen as a tool of confrontation between center and states, because states say we can't control them. You are the ultimate controller. That is why these officers don't respond to us. What can we do to harass them? We can only transfer them. That's how we are harassing them. Otherwise, you are the one who is controlling the all India services. Right? Tool of confrontation. Clear? So allegiance or loyalty towards center, controlled by center. These are all unitary features. Now, cooperative features. After all, there is nice cooperation also. So, very simple. Concurrent list. Concurrent list is a tool of cooperation, where both the center and now you may say, sir, but the center has ultimate power. But yes, largely we think that this is a tool of cooperation. Granville also said that Indian federalism is so cooperative in nature. Concurrent list is a classic example of cooperation. All India services. But you will say, sir, you just now said that they are a tool of confrontation. Yes, of course. But cooperation also. I'll tell you how. Look at the current situation between the central government and the, say, West Bengal government. The central government and the West Bengal government, I'm sure you know how much in love they are with each other. Right? If left in one room, they will kill each other. But still, both the governments are surviving. The files sent by the West Bengal government are getting approved by the central government. Projects are not being stopped. Day-to-day administration is happening. How? What will happen? An IAS officer posted in the West Bengal government. The minister says, I want to get this approved by center. Come on, IAS, come here. Get this approved. The IAS will send the file to center. Will call his or her batchmates. Remember in the past now we used to bring together the comment together. Hello, yes, very nice, great. Please, I've sent a file, approve it. And that file is approved. Work done. You are in Tamil Nadu, SPP. A criminal has run away from Tamil Nadu and has crossed the border, gone to Kerala. Tamil Nadu police has crossed the border now. They come to you, sir, ma'am, please, your batchmate is posted in that district as an SP. Please call him or her, help me out, help us out. You call your friend. Remember, in Hyderabad, right? We used to have fun. Please, I'm sending my police, there's a criminal there. Ask your local police to help my police out. The person helps him out, calls him, says, yes. The officer there will call the DSP or the local SHO there. Come on. The police is coming in that state, help him out. Simple. Day-to-day administration in this country is dependent on all Indian services. Without the all Indian services, it is impossible to run this country. Clear? Now, DPSP, I don't know what is DPSP, ignore it. Basically, DPSP is a list of guidelines for the government, both center and states, that we should try to make our policies by incorporating DPSP. That is what is DPSP. Directive Principles of State Policy. More on this on the last day. Then this Article 355, duty of center to protect the states, right? Cooperation. No division of public services. Please tell me, if you are an IAS officer and you are posted in some state, is your task to only implement central government schemes? Of course not. Or when an SP comes to a state, is his task only to take care of law and order situation which affects the center? No. He is just a senior in the hierarchy, serving the needs of state. So even though you are hired by center, but there is no division in public service. Both people hired by UPSC, people hired by the state commissions, they are serving the needs of state cooperation. And now, very important, in your city, if you live in a city, you will find that there are these income tax buildings. Yes or no? Income tax office. Please tell me, in that income tax office, the staff working there, are they central government employees or state government employees? Please tell me. Who charges income tax? Center. By state government. They are central government employees. Right? Now, that income tax building houses the central government employees. But that building also requires lot of services, drainage service, water, power, etc. Can the municipal corporation impose a tax on the building for these services? No, it cannot. It is mentioned in the Constitution that central government buildings can't be taxed by state. And vice versa. State government buildings can't be taxed by center. This is mentioned under Article 285 and this is under Article 289. This is the immunity given to each other. Why? Because they are the instrument of the state. After all, central and state governments are working for the benefit of this country only. So since I am the instrument of the state, why should I be subject to taxation? Are we clear? That is why central and state governments are immune from each other's taxation. That's also cooperation. Then of course, let me tell you, like in every friends group, let's say you have 5 friends. Please tell me, do you share the same friendship level with all the friends? Of course not. When things go wrong, there's a closer friend who knows all your secrets more than the others. Right? This will never happen that you have 10 people and a friends group and everybody knows the exact same thing. No. You can get to know this by simply realizing that when you are in trouble, emotional trouble, who do you call first? Right? That person is the closest friend. Similarly, states are not at the same distance, not physical distance only, but otherwise. States are given, some states are given more autonomy, other states are not given that autonomy. So states also have varying power vis-a-vis the center. It is somewhat like this. If this is the center, then the states, some of the states have too much of leeway, other states may not have that leeway. For example, the representation in Rajya Sabha. Look at this. Representation in Rajya Sabha is not the same. So there is asymmetric federalism. There is no symmetry. States are not equally treated by the center. Unequal treatment. Right? Andhra Pradesh has 11 people. Kerala has 9. Punjab has 7. Goa has 1. MP has 11. UP has 31. So there is no equality. Second, there are some special category states also. If you remember, we were discussing the governor's powers, Article 371 to 371J. These comprise of the 7 sister states minus Meghalaya and Tripura. Then Maharashtra, Gujarat, Andhra, Telangana, Sikkim, Goa, Karnataka. All these states. You can look at your Lakshmi Kant. Chapter 37 about this. But don't read the chapter. Not important. But if at any point of time any of these articles come in news, right, then read that selective portion from the Constitution directly or from Lakshmikant if you want. For example, back in 2012, there was some issue with Nagaland vis-a-vis some oil well project. Article 371A was in news, and in 2013 main examination, Article 371A, a question was asked on that. From that time, not a single question. So it all depends. If an article is constantly in news, then know the provision. Otherwise, please ignore it. Don't be emotional. Then we have Schedule 5 and 6 areas, which are largely controlled by center. And Schedule 6 areas with ADC, so much of autonomy, so much of independence given. Then uneven fiscal devolution. Tell me please, are all the states receiving the same amount of money? No, right? Some states get more money, some states get less money, based on population, based on economic growth, based on forest cover, so many factors. And also, there are some areas which have no independence. We call them UTs, directly controlled by center. No independence only. Asymmetric federalism. And lastly, we also want a sense of competition in the country, a constructive competition. So Niti Aayog is actually a body which promotes this sense of healthy competition in the country, right? promotes healthy competition. Then we have the freedom given to states to plan their own expenditure based on priorities. Center gives money to states. States spend money on their own. Some states can spend money on building infrastructure. Some states can spend money on freebies. It's your choice. You are free to spend money, right? And also there are so many indexes released by various departments. For example, the very famous Good Governance Index released by DARPG, Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances, or NESDA. What is that? This is the e-governance index. You'll be studying about these in your governance classes. National E-Governance Service Delivery Assessment, or Ease of Doing Business. This is also released. Or you have the aspirational districts ranking, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan ranking, achievement in SDG ranking, right? Even for panchayats there is ranking. So much of creative competition is happening, right? Healthy competition is happening. Competitive federalism. Every state wants to grow and be the best, right? So these are various elements of federalism. I would request you mug up every point. If you mug up all these points, I guarantee and assure you a question on federalism, center-state relations, you will in all likelihood be able to answer that question. Simple. Anyway, solve this question asked in 2021. Should I launch the poll now? Okay. See, as far as other points are concerned, this is nonsense. Nonsense. The union legislature has elected representatives from constituent units. It can be a unitary country also. For example, France. If you look at a country like France, France also has a national assembly. The entire country is divided into small parts called constituencies, right? And people from those constituencies are chosen, like in India. In Lok Sabha, what is Lok Sabha? Lok Sabha is a body where all the people come from a constituency. Lok Sabha is not a body where people are actually representing the interest of their state. They represent the interest of their what? They represent the interest of their constituency. Now, Lok Sabha in no way is an element of federalism, right? So that's the whole point. So as I gave the very good example is of France only, right? So all these people who are the members of the National Assembly called deputies, they come from various small parts, constituencies. Okay, so A is the right answer. That brings us to the end of our discussion today. Tomorrow we'll begin our discussion once again at 6:30 in the morning. So don't be sleeping. Please join the class. And if you are sleeping, no problem. You can just see the video later on. How does it matter? Okay, the leaderboard. No task. You will be coming tomorrow morning. I don't want to burden with any kind of task. Sushant Burma and Shargun. Just me to predict for 2020. Yashi. That mental health also. I would request you to not get too involved with other people on topics of knowledge and facts. A common man or a woman, look at you only. Before attending these classes for UPSC, you were any layman who hardly knew information, right? So now with your added information and the inputs and the correct data, if you try to make other people understand your point of view, there are two things wrong in that. First one is it violates the idea of liberalism. Let them have their own point of view. It's okay. Secondly, they don't know the facts. You know the facts. It is impossible to argue with people who are arguing on emotions. And most people argue on emotions, right? You will only be wasting your energy and time. Don't do it. Then number three is if you try to argue with people elder to you, let's say your parents, your brothers, etc., sisters, etc. I mean, come on, they are in their 40s and 50s. You expect them to change? That is wrong, right? Let it be. The best thing is to avoid. And don't do it by saying that, see, I know a lot of facts, I'm avoiding it. No, no, no. That defeats the purpose. Silently avoid. Let it be. If you are a fan of, say, Narendra Modi, and somebody is a fan of Rahul Gandhi, let's say your parents, let it be. How does it matter? It's okay. You are preparing for the examination. They are not. You have advantage of facts. They don't. So ignore it in this sense that you have way more knowledge to argue. Conserve your energy. This will only cause mental issues with you. You will feel drained after having these arguments, and nobody wins these arguments, right? So please avoid all these things. Don't be an activist right now. Your only focus has to be clearing the examination, right? Okay. What happened, right? It's just that on the days of low, don't disconnect yourself from the preparation. That's why some things have to be done, like studying on a regular basis, basic monthly magazine coverage, etc. So it is very, very important to be consistent. And yes, you need a break. 1-2 days of break is very much required and warranted. Okay. Yes, Hussain, sir, how to cover parliament? It's the easiest topic, sir. It is just that it's very vast. So frequent revisions. For committees, just focus on those select committees only, nothing else. Any you may on and off day you may sleep for 4 hours, but regularly if you don't sleep for 7 hours, it will take a huge toll on your mental health. So avoid those phones, avoid those conversations with your BFFs and all, best friends, etc. But studying is important and sleeping is important. Anyway, so that's it. Let's meet tomorrow at 6:30 in the morning and we'll continue our discussion further. Okay. Till then, that is all for me, guys. Jai Hind.